I'll pull this kind of at the intersection of West Nationwide Boulevard and Neal. The applicant is modifying an existing rooftop sign, and they're proposing to add 2 wall signs.
Hello.
A different version of this proposal appeared before the commission at the October 2020 meeting. The applicant has modified proposal to address commission input. Rooftop sign is now a digitally printed vinyl with a graphic treatment. Both wall signs have been reduced in size, and the north wall sign has been lowered to be in line with the metal bars. I don't know if the commissioners remember, there was like an awning on the right-hand side that we talked about, either putting it on the awning,
Yes,
or lining it up. The applicant is providing 2 options for the wall sign: illuminated aluminum pans with printed graphics, or raceway-mounted LED illuminated channel letters. The guidelines state that buildings should not be dominated by graphics. Each ground floor tenant space or building should be provided 1 projecting sign and 1 wall sign or awning sign. While the signs themselves do generally meet the guidelines, staff has some reservations about having 2 northern-oriented signs. And here's the location.
Okay.
I did some visits. So this is the south elevation. And here we have the north elevation with the 2 signs. I went by there yesterday, and this Versa sign has been removed at this point in time, so it's no longer up there. Here you can see the north elevation again, and here you see it from across the street. And with that, I think we have an applicant here as well.
Okay. Is the applicant here? Would you identify yourself, please? Anyone here for the applicant? Is anyone here for the applicant, please?
It's Rex Elliott, and I think Jennifer Bender of the Night Sign Company is on as well.
Okay, could Rex and Jeff please, can I swear you in, please? Could you raise your right hands?
Yes.
Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So say, I do.
I do.
Okay, thanks very much. Okay.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Who was that? Would you identify yourself? Who said I do?
I think it was Jennifer.
Jennifer. Hi. Okay, Jennifer. Good. Thank you.
Bender.
Would whoever's going to present go
Although
ahead.
I must say, it's very it's very choppy, all the sound. I'm assuming this is just me and no one else, but
Mine's pretty good.
We can hear you very well, Jennifer.
Yeah.
well, that's good.
Let's try to go ahead and muddle on through it here while we got you, Jennifer. I mean, if are you checking out on us here? Rex, do you want to go ahead and show us what we got going? And or Lewis, if you've got the pictures, let's go look.
Yeah, Rex, do you want to do this? Do you want me to do it?
Either way, if Jennifer's not on, these are the.
Who's the? I'm sorry. Did we get everybody sworn in for the applicants? I'm sorry to do this.
I think so.
I think we did. Steve. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Go ahead. Thanks.
I think what we've attempted to do here is to address the concerns that were raised with our last proposal, and do something that frankly is pretty consistent with what Versa had done before, to obviously have the rooftop sign and then the signage on the walls without too much duplication. And obviously the rooftop sign and in our A proposal, trying to match on the wall what's proposed on the rooftop as well.
Okay. It's pretty straightforward. Can everybody see what the proposal is? Any questions or comments for the applicant? First of all, why don't we, just to break it down, why don't we talk about the sign on top first? Does that make sense? Any questions from the commissioners about that?
I think the sign on top is okay. It's not as creative as the last 2 signs that have been in that location. And I might have a concern about too much signage on this building, except that it's in the arena district where chaotic signage is kind of what we do. And I think the other signs address our concerns. My preference is the white letters on the gray building.
Mine as
So
well.
let the rooftop sign be kind of the the splash,
Absolutely.
and let the others be more subtle.
Just for the record, that's my preference as well. I think it's much more aesthetically pleasing with the white on the building than trying to match the and I think it accentuates the artwork on the rooftop sign.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I
Totally
also
agree.
think the rooftop sign is better than the first one because you've kind of compressed the letters and brought them down to the side. So it's not as kind of, let's say, bold or whatever it is. With the rear letters, I'm wondering if I personally think they probably ought to be the same size as the ones on the front. They look like they're larger. Comment on that, or is that, and maybe they should be a little lower instead of right up at the top of the building, maybe dropped just even if it's a foot or two. Can we get a picture of that, Louis?
Yeah, so the sign on the north is 10 foot by 2'6", and the one on the south is 13.4 by 3'4", and it is higher up.
Any thoughts on that? Anything from the commissioners?
I mean, I think if it does match the one on the north in terms of the size, I do think that would look more to scale. And I think if it's kept in that location a little higher, it doesn't bother me. And also, I definitely prefer option B to option A, the one that, everybody seems to prefer.
I agree.
Are there any other comments from any of the commissioners? If not, what's the pleasure of the group, please?
Well, have we decided on the have we decided on the south facing side? Is it going to be A or is it going to be B?
Well,
Giving them that option.
Could we see the back of the building again, Liz?
Yeah.
The south side?
Yeah, let me get the pictures here. I've lost them.
I'm just curious, can anyone hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, is this
I called
Jennifer?
in a different
Yeah.
way. Yes.
Thank you.
Is that what you were looking for, Bob?
What
I wanted to see the one with the sign on it.
Oh, the sign on it. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
what I'd like to see is the one on the south match the one on the north being the B.
Yes.
And maybe drop it. For my taste, it should be maybe better if it comes down a foot or two. It just
Yeah, I
seems
think
like
it should align with the top of the windows.
that's kind of, yeah, that's kind of, or even just drop it right below the gutter line or something, just
Yeah.
as opposed to sticking it up at the top, almost more relating to the canopy than it does to the top of the wall there. Are there any problems with that, either Jennifer or Rex?
No, B is my preference as well, and having it to scale and dropping it down a bit's perfectly fine with us.
So you could use same size, in other words, that you're using on the north, you could use that on the south as well?
That's fine.
And drop it down? Okay. Commissioners, what's your pleasure? We've got two issues here. One, the rooftop thing, and then the signs, front and back, north and south.
I'll make a motion to approve the application, the rooftop sign as submitted, the north-facing sign as submitted, scheme B, and the south-facing sign to match the north-facing sign in scale, scheme B, and drop it down above the canopy.
And I second that, Bob.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor. Any other questions, comments for the applicants? Anything from the audience? All those in favor say aye, and maybe raise your right hand. Aye.
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 Wave at us. Good. Okay, those opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Jennifer, you did a great job.
Thank you very much.
Next case.
We
Thank you.
appreciate the applicant listening to us and coming back with
I do too. And
our concerns.
I think this is better than, with all due respect, than what we saw the first time. So thank you. Okay, next case, please. Lewis?
Okay. So case C1 was withdrawn by the applicant last night. We had some concerns about the proposal, so they're going to try and address those concerns and come back at a later date.
Okay.
So we're going to move on to C2. C2 is 535 Ridge Boulevard. Let me pull that up here on the map. So it's at the old White Castle corporate site off of West Wooddale, north of 670. And what the applicant is proposing is to install internally illuminated channel letters on the north, east, and south elevations. All graphics will be individually mounted near the roofline, and the details of the signage are as follow. On the north, it's going to say the Superior Group with a logo. On the east, it's just going to say the Superior Group, and on the south, it'll be the logo only. The guidelines state that commercial signage in the downtown should be pedestrian oriented and communicate simple, succinct messages in a balanced manner. Wall signs should be proportionate to the building to which they are attached, and the proposal generally meets the guidelines with regards to graphics. Staff approve this because I can't staff approve signs that are higher than 25 feet above grade. But so that's why it's here before the commission today. And with that, we have an applicant as well.
Okay, very good. Would all those who are here for the applicant identify yourselves, please?
Hi, yes, my name is Tom Branham with Branham Sign.
Okay, anybody else, Tom, with you for the applicant?
Also, good morning. This is Jerry Kaltenbach with the Superior Group.
Okay, would you two folks kindly raise your right hand?
Also George Janko, Superior Group.
Okay, and I see Bob McCullum raising his right hand. Are you?
I'm Tom Branham. I'm using.
Oh,
I'm on the next case.
Okay, Tom. Would you all raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go ahead. Why don't you walk through and show us a picture of each of the signs, and we'll just walk through the proposal, please. Who's carrying the ball on this one? Lewis?
Yeah, I did a side visit building here for you as well. So here's the building. It's kind of set back in the site. This is the north elevation. It faces out onto the kind of pavilion area that we approved last year. Here is the south and the east elevation. You can see it looks out over 670. South elevation, there's a skyline, there's the east elevation, and this is the pavilion that we approved. So with that, let me pull up the actual packet.
Looks a lot like what we saw.
Yeah, it looks good.
That's what it's supposed to do, Bob.
Didn't always happen.
That's right.
Here we go. All right, go ahead, applicant. You can talk about it.
Yeah, so we're proposing the north, south, and east elevation for the individual channel letters, and we went off with the building, try to come up with something proportional, and also with the pedestrians in 670, to adequately represent where you can actually find the building and where to go into and so forth.
Okay, can we see pictures of the proposed graphics on the building? Lewis, do you have that? There we go. Good, thank you.
North elevation, south elevation, it's just going to be the logo right there, and then the east elevation.
I have a question. It's just more of a comment. I'm wondering, because the east elevation is not as long as the south elevation, I'm wondering why the sign is on the east and the logo only is on the south.
To get more visibility going down 670 and so forth, and keeping everybody that one direction, get good visibility of the signage.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever looked at one of these top of the building graphics without wanting to make it smaller, but this one seems to be in scale with the building.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And I think, clearly this is a place where we don't have the pedestrian level issue to deal with.
Right.
So, okay, what's the pleasure of the group then? Any other questions or comments? Anybody choose to do anything, please, from the commission? Let's put it, move to approve. Is that what you said, Mike?
Yes.
Mike's cutting out. Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor then. So let's continue. If there's any, are there any questions or comments? Anything? Just on the lighting on this, these are really effectively, they're backlit. Is that right, Tom?
They're face lit.
Oh, face lit. Okay, so they're internally illuminated.
Correct, with LEDs.
Okay, is there a way to, I mean, the intensity and the brightness of the light, is there something that you do on that controls that, or do you have a certain setting? Or, I mean, internally illuminated is probably good, but it can be just, it can kind of blow your socks off, or it can.
Right. These ones are the 5,000. I mean, the brighter ones are in a 7,000 volume. You can put a dimmer on them, but with how far the ones from 670 and stuff, I don't think that's going to be an issue, and how far it sets back in there. That you're going to have that sort of,
Okay. Okay. And are there any other questions, comments? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, Lewis, next case, please.
Okay. Next case is 116 to 124 East Long Street. The applicant is proposing a new Admiral location. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me pull up the. Here it is on the map. It's at the intersection of North 3rd and East Long on this 2-story brick building. The new development is going to the north here. I think it's at 150. We looked at the graphics last week for that building.
Okay, who's here for? I'm sorry, go ahead, Louis. I didn't mean.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna read the details. So the applicant is proposing an Admiral that'll measure 48 by 25 feet and will be illuminated by 3 overhead commercial floodlights. The applicant has included details of the first Admiral proposed for this location. The guidelines state that to enliven the built environment, create interest and energy, and add a creative flair to the underused building facades. Installation of murals should be limited to blank walls and should not obstruct architectural features. When reviewing an Admiral, area context and character will be considered as part of the review. The proposal generally meets the basic location requirements and design guidelines. However, the commission will need to determine whether this location is appropriate in terms of area context and character. And I did make a site visit, so let me pull that up here for you. So here's the building. This 2-story brick building right here, and this is where they plan on putting the Admiral on the western elevation. Here's the facade facing south. You can see this is how it orients with the new construction behind. This is the budget. This is just to the west of the budget building. This is across the street, so you can kind of see what's going on in the area. This building here, and then this parking lot here. And with that, the applicant can take over.
Who's here for the applicant? Could you?
This is Bob McCollum. I'm also with Branham Sign Company.
Okay. Anybody else for the applicant?
Dirk Green with Shop Machine Project Group.
Okay. Could you both raise your right hands so I can swear you in? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? If so, say I do.
I do.
I do.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
So I'm basically here to speak about the installation of the mural. I don't know if Dirk has anything else to add to it. Pretty much stand upon what the graphics are that's in the submittal to what they want to put on there. This is a new residential park or residential facility, and that's pretty much it. If anybody has any questions about how the mural is going to be mounted, I can speak to that and try and answer any questions that you might have.
Okay. Any questions, comments? this becomes a permanent sign location then if this is approved. Is that correct, Louis?
That is correct.
Okay.
More than just the ad mural, we're approving the actual location to be used in the future. Staff approval.
How long will this particular sign be up? Particular mural.
This is dirt green with the owner. I mean, our guess is that it could be up for 3 to 6 months until the renting of the at 150 apartment complex is stabilized, and once that goes away, then we will likely look to third party advertisers.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a comment. When I look at this signage in context with the streetscape, just looking down east at the scale of the buildings, I feel that it really dominates. And even though it's a secondary facade that's supposed to enliven, I don't really feel that it achieves that. I feel that it somehow dwarfs the other buildings. And I'm concerned about this as a new location.
Okay, other comments?
Does this mural meet the percentage requirements?
Yes, it does. The text would be 13.7%.
This is really hard because it's. I agree with Jana. I think it's probably too big. It is on a blank wall. It doesn't obscure any architectural features. It's very difficult to evaluate this with this particular design because it's so bad, and it is so obviously just a billboard, and so much antithetical to what we did when we set up the ad mural campaign, which was to be sponsored artwork. There's absolutely nothing creative about this, and it's just offensive. And yet, I don't know that we have any right anymore, according to the city, to say that or to regulate that.
No, we have no say over the content. We can say whether that can be at an allowable location or not, but we have no say over content once it's approved.
This is just further evidence that we've completely lost control of what was a very creative thing for our downtown.
Okay.
Was the goal of the arrow and the outline was that to match the building, the orange that's in the building? It's rather confusing. I mean, it looks like budget, and it does look like the building. And
no, the color scheme on the mural is matching the at 150 logo color, which is red.
Okay.
Can we get a closer view of the building with the mural on it, Louis, please?
Sure.
Thanks.
Sure.
Well, if we're going to approve this location, I'd like to see the bottom of the sign aligned with the white that white strip on the front of the building, so it looks like it belongs to this building, not just a billboard.
Just as a point of reference, you do not have to approve the location. If you want to approve it, you're certainly free to do so, but you do not have to do it. New sign locations come for approval. So just so everybody understands what the context is. But Bob, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your.
No, that's fine.
Comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Are there any other comments?
This location does meet the criteria though, right? I mean, it's a blank wall.
Well, I mean, it generally meets the guidelines, you're right, but I mean, the commission has the purview to make any decision they want regarding the approval of these.
Right, because we look at the requirement for the actual wall, that it isn't obstructing any windows, but also we look at it in the context of the environment too. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Of course, you have leeway.
What's everybody want to do? If even if it gets turned down, the appropriate way to do so is to move to approve and then vote no. Then it has been turned down. So we do not. We will. I just soon not have a motion to turn it down, but that's up to the commission members. So what's everybody? Are there any other questions or comments about this?
Well, what would the owner agree to make some changes so that it doesn't get turned down like it looks like it's going to?
We are open to modifications.
Would some modifications to the sign help with our decision, everybody?
It'd make it easier.
I'm a no vote because I don't think we should have another sign there. So
I'm a no vote too.
Yes, I also have long-term concerns about the location. Yeah.
I might add that there was previously an ad mural there for years.
Under our program or just before that?
Prior to our ownership, I mean, there are pictures of of ad mural there.
That's
okay.
the first step.
And if it's a previous location, then we don't have any role here. If it was approved as part of the ad mural campaign.
After whatever the date, or I mean,
yeah, if it was just
the date is.
If it was just a billboard that was there forever, then that's different. But
yeah,
I think we have an application here. I mean, obviously, if they have certain rights because there was a graphic there after that, whatever the date of that legislation was, or at the time of that legislation, then that becomes a different situation. But other than that, I think we have an application in front of us. We can do one of two things: vote on it today, or you can we can table it. We can check the history on it and come back if you want to do that.
Do you want to make it a condition where you can vote on it now, and regardless of the outcome of the vote, if there was a previously approved ad mural there that met these dimensions, that I would go ahead and approve it at that point in time?
If it's approved, I think if it's approved as of the date of the legislation, whatever that is,
okay.
I think they have a kind of an entitlement there.
Okay. So we can make that a condition of approval.
Does that make sense? Even if we turn it down, does that make sense to everybody?
Yes.
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that this location be approved. If the the bottom of the sign would be raised to be in alignment with the bottom of the white strip that goes across the front, subject to the condition that it's still a new location for an ad bureau.
Okay. Is there a second to that? Is there a second, please?
No second.
Okay, Mike Lusk, thank you. Okay. Are there any other, before we go, any other comments, questions? Okay. I'm going to ask everybody to raise your hands. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say aye also. Aye.
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 Okay. So that fails. That's, I think it's unanimous no. If I get that, Lewis, you're the one counting pause here. So
did anybody vote in favor of that?
No, I don't think so. Did they?
Okay. Unanimous
Okay.
fail. Okay.
Okay. So you can check on that and you can keep us informed on that if, in terms of whether it was there before or not. Thank you very much.
I have a quick question, if I may. Will we need to come back before the commission if it is proven that it meets what was there before, or will that just automatically be approved?
I don't think so. I think you can, yeah.
Yeah, it should
Dr.
automatically
Lewis.
be approved. If you had let me know this ahead of time, I wouldn't even brought it to the commission if I had known there was a previous admiral at that location. So that can be staff approved at that point in time.
Okay.
And Bob, we would need to know the size, because we would say probably, I guess, Lewis, he runs the show on that, but you can't increase the size on what.
Right.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I can check Daniel's folder system and see what was previously approved. If
Okay.
there's something there.
Right.
Good. Okay. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Lewis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay.
So-
Next case, please.
Can
I'm
I
sorry.
ask a question?
Yes,
I'm sorry.
please. I'm
So,
sorry, I don't mean to go-
so if it's determined that the pre-existing sign was prior to this legislative date you're referencing, is there no recourse for me to add a mural on this empty wall?
No, I think the answer to that is no.
Well,
Well, no, it's no. He
No,
can,
I'm sorry.
He can,
Well, wait, I
you
guess
can
I don't
appeal.
understand what you mean, recourse.
You can appeal to us, and then after you've appealed to us, if we turn you down again, you can go to city council.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. All right. So the next one, give me a moment here. So the next case is C4. It's 154 North 3rd Street. And the applicant is proposing modifications to a previously approved storefront. This is right around the corner from the location we were just looking at. Right here. It's at this kind of older building. And I did take some site visits to this location as well. So here's the building. Let me describe what they're going to do first. The applicant is proposing modifications to a previously approved storefront by this commission. The design of the storefront will remain largely unchanged, but it will be inset 10 feet into the building to allow for the creation of an outdoor dining patio space. The previously approved northern storefront window will be left open, and the floor will be a broom finished concrete slab. The ceiling will be gypsum, and the walls will be exposed brick. The guidelines state that the design of commercial storefronts should be complementary to the associated structure while creating pedestrian interest and interaction. Storefront should address the public sidewalk, providing a primary entrance and significant window space for engaging customers. Additionally, changes to contributing buildings should be complementary and not detract from the building's essential character. While the proposal generally meets the guidelines, staff has some concern as to whether or not the recessed storefront is complementary of this building's essential character, and that's a question for the commission to address and to determine. So here's the building itself. We just at 150 signage to the right, so you can see here's the building. They put the cornice on top. I don't know if that's finished, but the building already looks a lot better. And here's the storefront right here. You can see what the plan is to leave this all open. Originally, the storefront, I looked at old drawings, it came to the front of the building. There was a slightly recessed area for the door, and there was a window here on the northern side. This is what it looks like from another angle. Once again, this window will stay open. It'll just kind of be this pillar, and this will be kind of a recessed patio space. Here's a close-up, so those walls will be exposed brick. You can just see kind of what it'll look like. And that's it for my presentation. The applicant can take over now.
Okay, would all the applicants please identify yourself? Who's here for the applicant? John Ingerson, okay. Anyone else? Okay, John, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So say I do. John, we can't hear you. Can you unplug your, you got yourself muted.
I thought you were muting me.
Perfect.
Okay.
Oh.
Good. I do.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Essentially, the storefront was as approved in the left elevation that you're looking at. And the idea was to just take that and push it back about 10 feet, 10'6" back into the building. And then that would allow the window to be open, and it really wouldn't change any materials that were previously approved, just that location. And then the obviously some changes need to be made to make that slab outdoors, weather tight to the basement of the building below it. And that's really the extent of the application.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
What will the ceiling be?
It's going to be exterior gypped, painted.
That's boring.
It'll have some recessed lights.
Are you saying that the door frame, the window systems and the door and so on will be exactly the same? You're just pushing it back inside? Is that
Yes.
the idea? Okay.
Yes.
And so the double doors on the south side then of the opening would let you into the space. So if people were going to come in and out and use that outdoor space there, you'd come in and out of those double doors and walk over underneath the canopy there. Is that the idea?
Yes, it's the same entrance to that is hopefully going to be some sort of food service tenant. And in order to have this is the old facade line. It's just getting straightened up and moved back to allow a patio, some seating out here where the two number 1 code notes are.
Okay.
So is it the same level as the sidewalk?
Correct. Well, I mean, it's got a 1/4 inch a foot slope to shed water, but yeah.
Well, I mean, is a smooth transition from
Absolutely.
this area? Okay.
Absolutely. That's a pretty mean street front on 3rd. I think it would provide some more interest, human scale to that, to the facade, even though that is recessed. It really essentially isn't changing much as far as what it's going to look like, other than the shadow lines.
Did you consider at all maybe keeping the window on the north side just as kind of wind protection?
Okay.
It's just a thought, really. I don't really object to this, but I wonder if it's going to be a little too exposed, if that would somehow make it more.
I had that discussion with the owners, and they felt like just the ability to have a view out of there. The window certainly wouldn't hurt that, but also the ability for somebody to walk through that space from Lafayette was what their decision was. It got played around with, and this is their direction. I don't think that they would object if that was a condition of approval.
From the side, how wide is the sidewalk there, John? From the front of the building to the.
I'm just gonna hang on a second. Let me.
Is that pretty wide? I guess what I'm thinking about is if you could creep over with that underneath space past those columns.
I know that the
sidewalk too. It'd be. Maybe
it's pretty shallow. I'm not sure you're going to get.
Ah, okay.
It looks to me like it's about 8 feet.
Okay. Okay.
I'm looking at Google Earth right now.